Now here, this video spawned completely out of FOMO. Hey guys, it's Sunny. Welcome back to my channel. I feel like booktok. I feel like I'm kind of in love with booktok. I very much enjoy booktok. I think it's so fun because it's literally just like people out here like having the best time of their lives. Yeah, so in this video, I'm reading these 5 viral TikTok books, and they're books that I have been wanting to read anyway. One of Us is Lying, We Hunt the Flame, Caraval, The Shadows Between Us, and The Song of Achilles. These are books that I've seen all over TikTok. So I vlogged my experience reading each of these books. The first book that I read was One of Us is Lying. This book I've seen on like every booktok list of like murder mystery. It's basically about these 5 students who happen to be in detention together. One of them ends up dying during detention, and the other 4 students are obviously like the main suspects, and it takes place in like high school. Hey everyone, I'm starting off with One of Us is Lying. I'm 34% of the way through. It's giving me like Gossip Girl x The Breakfast Club x Pretty Little Liars vibe, because there's also a component of like an anonymous internet person, and it spills like all these student secrets. So it is like a whodunit, but like with more teas. And yeah, I just think it's gonna be like a wild ride. Okay, so I'm now about like 50% done. I was kind of hoping that all of our characters would kind of like turn into Nancy Drew, but mostly it's just like a lot of like their lawyers telling them not to say anything and them getting into more drama. There's a focus more on like each character, which I wouldn't be mad about, except for the fact that each of these characters are about as deep. Do you know when you like need to make the perfect bowl of rice, and so you do that thing where you like stick your finger in and see where the water's coming up to? About as deep as that. Also, there's like so much cheating. Out of like the 4 suspects, 2 of them are cheaters, and 2 of them have like major like pick-me energy. So I guess they're meant for each other. So I mean, I just finished. I would say maybe like a solid like 3-star read. I will say that I didn't like figure it out, like the mystery of it. It definitely was not what I thought it was going to be. Like I thought that it was going to be like a YA high school version of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, but it was actually more about like aftermath of the murder. Like they were in detention for like 5 seconds. I will say that besides like the main 4 people, every other side character and sibling character, I could not for my life tell one from another. Is there a second book in the series? Okay, so my final thoughts on oh my gosh, by the way, please ignore every single time I gave each of these books some kind of star rating in my vlog. I don't know if anyone else gets like this, but I just get like so dang proud of myself for finishing any type of book. My book rating economy suffers from so much inflation. So yeah, don't trust anything that I say. One of Us is Lying. It's me. I was the one who's lying every time that I rated one of these books. So yeah, just ignore those. Anyway, yeah, I think that is a really easy high school book to read. Like if you like stories that take place in high school. Kind of reminds me of like a Walmart TMZ. It's a little bit more tame actually. Maybe like a Home Goods TMZ, you know, / Gossip Girl / Breakfast Club for like the first 5 minutes of the book. They really are not in detention at all, but definitely has Breakfast Club vibes in the fact that each of our characters is some kind of like high school stereotype, or they're portrayed to be. So yeah, it's like Breakfast Club for like 0.02 seconds. This book also mentioned 4chan like once, which is one too many times. I would say that it had a fairly good amount of like plot twists, but it was less focused on the actual mystery and more focused on the drama between the characters. It became more focused on the murder investigation in like the last 25%, I would say. Because I didn't really fall in love with any of the characters. Like I didn't get super attached to anyone, therefore I wasn't really rooting for anybody. So I didn't really care like who got pinned with the crime and stuff. If you like opposites attract romance, it has like an unlikely romantic pairing. Definitely if you like an ensemble cast, and it's like the trope of like a group of unlikely friends. So overall, 3 out of 5. I think that it was an enjoyable read, and I can definitely see people getting like hooked on the story, you know? Okay, the next book that I read was We Hunt the Flame by Hafsah Faizal, or Hafsah Faizal. I'm very sorry if I mispronounced your name. This book I've seen in so many booktok lists of like I'm supposed to kill you / like enemies to lovers trope. We follow 2 main characters, a girl named Zafira, and she basically hunts to bring food back to like her town and her family. She's very infamous too. The only thing is that nobody knows that she's actually a huntress and not a hunter. And then the second point of view we follow is Nazir. He's the son of the ruler of the entire kingdom, and he's basically been trained to be an assassin. The 2 of them are sent on like this mission to retrieve this ancient artifact. Nazir is being sent to kill the hunter. So that's where like the I'm supposed to kill you trope comes in. Okay, so now I'm at the halfway point for We Hunt the Flame. This is like kind of a thicker book than I thought it was gonna be. And I think it's because things didn't really like start to pick up until about a third of the way into the book. There's kind of like the physical quest trope happening. There's kind of like a childhood best friends to lovers trope. And then there's also what I'm assuming is going to be the I'm supposed to kill you trope. Everyone who's part of like this travel party, everybody there has like sexual tension with every other person there. And it was, oh my gosh, I'm like so confused. And like more people are joining the party and stuff. It's just kind of gonna be like a hot people party, I feel like. I'm gonna try to finish this book. I'm gonna try to burn through this book like I need to pay rent tomorrow. Okay, so I finally finished. Oh my gosh, this book took such a friggin' long time to finish. I definitely understand why this book is like so viral on TikTok because it definitely gave me like Sarah J Maas, Jennifer L. Armentrout vibes, and BookTok is in love with those two. So if you like their books, then you would probably like We Hunt the Flame. It's like a certain breed of writing that I don't enjoy. Like, yeah. Oh! I just don't like it when authors write a little bit like too on the nose. The romance, it moves so quickly. Like I was just like really mind boggled about the attachment that formed in this book when you literally witness this person murdering your like best friend. Okay, so my final thoughts on We Hunt the Flame. First of all, if you like sexual tension, dude. The sexual tension in this desert is astronomical. 𝐬𝐵Hira, the main like girl character, she actually cracked me up. She was out here trying to like shoot her shot with every single person that she came across. Basically in the desert, they need to be careful of these magical creatures who are very dangerous called ifrits. There's this one scene where they are being attacked by these ifrits and she's literally like battling one of them to the death. At one point she's like on the ground and this ifrit is over her like pinning her down because they're fighting, right? And she's kind of like, okay, well they're kind of hot. This girl is so funny. She would be me, like in the desert, like that would be me. I think like the actual romantic pairing that happened here, I kind of found it to be a little bit like not believable just because it was less enemies to lovers more than just murder to lovers is kind of what it felt like. Like someone got murdered and then now they're lovers. It definitely was not a slow burn. If you like a quicker burn, then I feel like this book is for you. I think the political intrigue was actually like pretty great. This book kind of has like the chosen one trope, but personally I could kind of get on board with it because of the themes that it was trying to portray. Like the fact that 𝐬𝐵Hira is trying to prove herself as the chosen one, being a woman. 𝐁𝐵Hira, the male love interest, he definitely had like a Kaz from Six of Crow-esque character trope and like the what made you like this trope, but definitely was not as subtle. There's a lot of emotional trauma. I just don't think that it was handled like as delicately or as like nuanced. If you are a fan of Sarah J Maas and Jennifer L. Armentrout's writing style, I think that you would actually really enjoy We Hunt the Flame because I really saw a lot of similarities. I think that this book is good if you want to feel like you're being casted away to like a far off land and going on this like adventure with like a sprinkling of magic, let's go on an epic quest together vibe. Okay, the next book that I read was 𝐸aval by Stephanie Garber. It's about these two sisters, Scarlett and Tella. They basically get like tickets to go to 𝐸aval, which is this very like mysterious, legendary event that happens once a year. It's kind of like a creepy carnival slash like wonderland vibe. Everyone who's in 𝐸aval like looks for these clues and then the winner gets a prize. And this year the prize is one wish. Okay, 𝐸aval by Stephanie Garber. I've kind of heard mixed things about this. I feel like some people found it very mediocre. And then I think that there are some people who also really love this. Okay, Miss Garber, I'm gonna try your book out. Literally the worst angle. Welcome to Sunny's Kitchen. Gordon Ramsay better watch out. I'm 30% of the way through 𝐸aval. We follow Scarlett, who's like the responsible older sister. Yeah, really just has that sense of responsibility like I feel like a lot of older siblings do. That couldn't be me. I am the younger sister. The reason that I like this book is because 𝐸aval is like, feels like almost like very whimsical but with a very sinister undertone. Kind of like the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie with Johnny Depp in it, where it was like whimsical but then there would be like random like out-of-pocket flashbacks to like Willy Wonka's terrible childhood.
Like being a kid.
Oh boy, do I. Do I?
The whole thing here is that 𝐸aval is held once a year and it's like this big game, and what they keep saying is that, oh, remember that everything is a game. Kind of gives me like Nerve vibes. And then Julian, who's like the sailor guy, kind of gives me like Dave Franco vibes. Okay, so I'm now like 2/3. I feel like I've seen feedback about Scarlett, our main character, about how people find her like kind of annoying because she makes like bad decisions and makes mistakes and stuff. And I'm honestly like, okay, leave her alone. I definitely see where they're coming from though, because she definitely does behave in kind of like a hot mess. Honestly, I kind of resonate with that. I think you're doing great, sweetie. I don't know, I feel like it is really, really fun. The only thing that's distracting is like all this forced like sexual tension between Scarlett and Julian. Wait, caraval, spoiler, like out of context. The one scene where Scarlett and Julian have to like lick each other's fingers. I like couldn't read it. Like I just think that it's kind of goofy, like that scene. I just finished Caraval. Oh my gosh, there were definitely a lot of like plot twists in this book, and I definitely, if you're like a smarter reader than I am, which I feel like most people are, you'd probably be able to like guess. But I kind of am someone who just likes to turn my brain off when I read a book, which I feel like is the opposite thing that you're supposed to do now that I think about it. But yeah, this book was a fun time. I feel like it's like a quick read. Okay, so my final thoughts on Caraval. I actually really enjoyed this book way more than I thought I would. The vibes of this book is like the movie Nerve X Alice in Wonderland X Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. This book also had low-key like big brain plot curves to it. I think that this book becomes 100% more enjoyable if you kind of like lean into the Dave Franco of it all. The romance in this was very, very prevalent, and sometimes it felt a little bit distracting. So I think that if you just like lean into it, like you'll probably have a better time. Definitely had a relatable main character. Everybody needs to leave Scarlett alone. I would recommend that you read this book if you want a reluctant travel companions to lovers. If you like a like scrappy but smooth type like male character, every single character and every single thing that happens in this book, you kind of are always asking yourself like, but can I really trust you? I like that feeling. Okay, the next book that I read was The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. Actually, some of you guys told me to try to pick it up, and I've seen this book all over TikTok for the I'm Supposed to Kill You. It's about a girl named Alessandra. She is trying to woo the Shadow King in order to kill him and then take the throne for herself. I'm reading The Shadows Between Us by Tricia Levenseller. I've actually never read this trope of like trying to marry someone in order to kill them. It's like really popular, but I've actually never read a book like that, so I wonder how I'll like it because I like enemies to lovers, but I don't like fake marriage. And this is just like a mashup of the two, so I don't know how I'm gonna enjoy it, but yeah. Amazing news. With me being 1/3 of the way, I was actually, listen, I was like this close, okay? This close to like perhaps just calling it quits and DNFing this when I was like 12% of the way through. It was just full of like so many things that I didn't really enjoy. Like the courtship that was happening, I was like, And like also our main character, Alessandra, is like a noble. I would rather follow the peasants of the kingdom. The Shadow King had zero personality, like we literally knew nothing about him. And I was like, oh, is this guy gonna be like immortal? And it's gonna be like an immortal mortal type situation, which you guys know how I feel about that. I'm actually really glad that I stuck it through because listen, I was worried that it was gonna be a little bit too hyper fixated on like the romance, and I wasn't enjoying that. But there are actually different plot lines that have been introduced, namely that has to do with the Shadow King, like him being the king of the kingdom. He is like dealing with all of this like political stuff, and honestly that is like what is most interesting to me. I kind of hope that it becomes more prevalent in the story. Hey everyone, sorry about this lighting. Anyway, I'm like 3/4 of the way through, and this book is really surprising me. It's mainly because I've like really grown to actually like our main character. As the story went on, it really focuses less on like the romance, and it's more focused on the friendship development between her and the king. Well, first of all, I really like the king. He's like just such a nice dude, and I'm definitely seeing Alessandra. I feel like as the story goes on, you see her being more brave and more smart. Love that. Oh my gosh, she needs to become the military general. If she doesn't, so far like this book has been kind of a plot twist. Okay, so my final thoughts about The Shadows Between Us. This one I also enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would. I will say that everybody's names were like really like too familiar, like full offense, but Ruben and Rhoda are literally the same name. I think what I appreciated about this book is that this is also kind of a spin on the Chosen One. In this case, like I feel like the Shadow King is kind of the Chosen One. And in any other story, Alessandra could have easily been written to be like the king's side piece. But here we see like the love interest of the Chosen One play the game just as well. And I see why everybody puts Alessandra as like a strong female character, especially nearing the end of the book. You see how like smart she is. I wish that we actually got to see that a little bit more. I like her character if you can like overlook a little sprinkling of like the I'm not like other girls. Okay, and then the last book that I read was The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book, TikTok is in a love affair with this book. So this book is, I think, like a reimagining of the Iliad. So it's kind of like a Greek tale, but it's focused on like the love story between Achilles and Patroclus, following from them when they were like children up to when they're like adults, like in their late 20s. I was kind of hoping that I'll be able to read this entire thing in one sitting. I've seen a lot of other people just like burn through this thing. I definitely see why. I've also seen every single person just absolutely bawl all while reading this book. I'm like really curious about whether I will or not, because I'm like not that attached to either Patroclus or Achilles. The story is way more focused on the love that they have for each other rather than like each of them individually. Obviously their romance is a focal point of this book, and it's like really beautiful to read about. Like, oh my gosh, I did not know that people could feel love this way. Like, kind of making me feel some type of way, like I can't do this to myself. Can a love like this exist? It's intense. Like, I'm trying to figure out when I'm gonna cry. I finished the Song of Achilles. I didn't ugly cry like I was hoping that I would. What made me tear up at this part? Hold on, I said that I wasn't gonna cry, and like I can feel oh, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry when I read this part. But fame is a strange thing. Some men gain glory after they die while others fade. We cannot say who will survive the Holocaust of memory. Wait, I don't know why it's making me so emotional. This one really got me. Okay, so my final thoughts on Song of Achilles. I really like this book, honestly. I gave it like a 3.75 / like 4 out of 5 stars. Unfortunately, I didn't ugly cry, and I was very prepared to. I kind of wish that I had. I think this book would slap as an HBO miniseries adaptation. You can just imagine it, like all the beautiful battle scenes in slow motion. I think this book was written in a way you could vividly feel what the book wanted you to feel, as opposed to vividly see everything that the book was showing you, if that makes sense. It was written to be very much like timeless. Definitely if you want like a heart-wrenching love story. Like, it made me believe in love, like, you know what I mean? It just read like so epically, and I think that it's definitely an easy story to like get swept away in. So yeah, I definitely see why people love this book so much. I kind of want to read her other book, 𝐸𝐶𝐸. Yeah, those are all of like the viral TikTok books that I read. That is it for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. That is all for now. I'll see you in the next one, and goodbye.